Years passed, and indeed Nigel's fears were taking on reality. Barry had been reallocated to another region, and the passenger service on the branch had been cancelled, making it solely a goods line. And even then, goods trains weren't as plentiful as they once were. All Nigel could do was watch as everything he knew and worked for come crashing down around him. One morning, Nigel's driver and fireman looked very worried as they walked towards their engine. "Is something wrong?" asked Nigel. His driver looked up at him with a forlorn frown. "Branch lines up and down Britain have fallen victim to the beachiness," said the driver. "And it won't be long until ours is on the chopping block," added the fireman gloomily. But they can't," stuttered Nigel. "Our branch line provides a valuable service to the villages and small towns it connects to. How could British Railways close it down?" "British Railways doesn't care about that," answered the driver. "The only thing they care about is what they think is economical." "Oh, it's a shame you aren't on the North Western Railway," sighed the fireman. Nigel was curious. "The North Western Railway?" he asked. "It's the railway which spans across the island of Sodor. The railway's controller, Sir Topham Hatt, is opposed to modernisation and has no plans to dieselise his railway." "Oh, that would be nice," mused Nigel, and sadly puffed away to work. Some weeks later, Nigel and his crew's worst fears came true. As the crew was giving Nigel a rub down, the station master came up with some heartbreaking news. "I'm ever so sorry, lads, but BR has handed down the order that this branch is to close." Nigel was worried. "Sir, if this branch line is to close, will I be reallocated?" The station master shook his head sadly. "It breaks my heart to say this, Nigel," went on the station master, "but you won't be reallocated. The railway board has ordered you to be withdrawn from service at the end of the month." Nigel watched the station master walk away, and the J50 could swear that he saw the station master wiping his eyes, but he didn't dare say anything. The next morning, Nigel's driver and fireman hurried excitedly towards him. "I wonder what's up," he thought to himself. "There is hope yet, old boy," said the driver excitedly. "Well, what is it?" asked Nigel. "Last night we went to the local pub and many of the townspeople have heard about the branch line's eventual closure and all want to pitch in to purchase the line and yourself from British Railways and run the line privately." Nigel's eyes lit up. "Really?" he exclaimed in delight. "Really?" replied the driver with a weary smile. "The people of this town know that they possibly couldn't come up with all the money on their own, but they are sure all of the other villages which the line goes through will be more than happy to contribute." "I hope so," said Nigel, filling with hope. Word about Nigel spread across the valley, and everybody felt the same way as the crew and vowed to save Nigel and the branch line from extinction. Collections were made outside various businesses, and soon a vast amount of money was raised. "Now we'll show British Railways that they can't take our engine," said one of the villagers. But unfortunately, this wasn't to be the case. A representative of British Railways arrived to speak with the villagers. "I am touched by the dedication and determination you have shown in keeping this line and its engine operational, but I'm afraid that the Railway Board has ruled that their plans to close the branch are to go ahead." The people and Nigel were crestfallen to hear these words. "I personally think it's a rotten way to go. I have been very vocal in preventing the closure of our branch lines, but my word means nothing to the Board of Directors." "Well, what about Nigel?" asked the driver. "I'm afraid he must be put into a siding to await orders of disposal," replied the representative. "I'm sorry. There is nothing I can do." And so, with heavy hearts, Nigel's driver and fireman backed him into the shed for the last time. "We're very sorry, Nigel," they said sadly, and walked away. Unbeknownst to them, this wasn't to be the end for Nigel. 2 days later, Nigel's driver and fireman came to the shed with 2 smartly dressed gentlemen. "Driver, fireman, what are you doing here?" asked Nigel in surprise. One of the smartly dressed men stepped forward. "My name is Rupert Simons, and this is my associate, Benjamin Hopkins. We are here on the board of the Bluebell Railway. We have heard all about your story, and we want to help. So we have approached the British Railways Board, and they have agreed to let us take you off their hands." Nigel's eyes widened with delight. "Oh, sir, thank you, sir," he bubbled. As the men left to make further arrangements, Nigel the J-50 breathed a huge sigh of relief, having escaped the cutter's torch. But this wouldn't be the final hurdle for Nigel. But that's another story.